Ukraine qui affecte les relations entre beaucoup de pays, qui provoque des divisions et qui donne lieu à un avenir sombre et incertain pour nous et nos enfants. Malgré le fait que nous traversons une période difficile de profonde instabilité et d'incertitude, je voudrais remercier les Brahma Kumaris pour leur message d'encouragement, pour la paix. Nous avons tous besoin de paix, de sécurité, afin de pouvoir vivre normalement. Sans ces éléments, il n'y aura pas de progrès et pas de moment de joie et de bonheur. C'est souvent à travers le dialogue que nous pouvons rétablir un pont pour la paix. Pour vivre un monde en paix, il nous faut démontrer de la bienveillance et de la compassion envers nos familles, nos amis, nos collègues, nos voisins. Les gestes de paix commencent par nous-mêmes. Il ne tient qu'à nous pour que les guerres cessent et que pour la confiance soit rétablie entre les peuples. À travers la Journée internationale pour la paix, la communauté des Brahma Kumaris nous rappelle le chemin qui pourra nous conduire vers la paix. Je voudrais encore une fois les remercier pour les initiatives prises chaque année pour favoriser la compréhension et les bonnes relations. Je suis convaincu que chaque personne ici présente connaît l'importance de la paix dans sa vie au quotidien. Mesdames et messieurs, merci de votre attention.
Thank you very much, sir. So I would now like to invite Mr. Nankeshwar Singh Busundayal, who will deliver the message of the United Nations Secretary General.
Thank you. President of the Republic of Mauritius, the Deputy Lord Mayor of the City of Port Louis, Mr. Daniel, Sister Gayatri, Chairperson of the National Board of Brahma Kumari, Mauritius, the organizing team, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I remark my dear friends, Ambassador Sukan. It is a great pleasure for the United Nations Association of Mauritius to participate today in the commemoration of the International Day of Peace being held at the City Council of Port Louis. The United Nations Association of Mauritius had been in partnership with Brahma Kumari, the Inner Space Meditation Center, and the Global Peace House for decades in having jointly organized the International Day of Peace and to participate in each other's program of activities. We are confident that our working relation will last for long. It is with immense pleasure and honor that Brahma Kumari and the Inner Space Meditation Center have invited the United Nations Association of Mauritius to present the message of His Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, marking this year International Day of Peace. Allow me to read you the message of the United Nations Secretary General. Quote, peace is a noble and necessary pursuit that and the only practical pathway to a better, fairer world for all people. Yet, in too many places, in too many contexts, we are failing the cause of peace. The theme of this year, International Day of Peace, and racism build peace, remind us of the many ways racism poisons people's hearts and minds and erode the peace we all seek. Racism robs people of the right and dignity. It inflames inequalities and mistrust, and it pushes people apart at a time when we should be coming together as one human family to repair our fractured world. Instead of fighting each other, we should be working to defeat our true enemies: racism, poverty, inequality, conflict, the climate crisis, and the COVID-19 pandemic. We should tear down the structures that sustain racism and lift up human rights movements everywhere. As we should drown out the vicious voices of hate speech with a united and sustained cry for truth, understanding, and mutual respect. On this important day, a time to observe 24 hours of non-violence and ceasefire, we renew our call for all people to do more than lay down their weapons. We call on them to reaffirm the bonds of solidarity we share as human beings and get down to the business of the building a day and more peaceful. Antonio Guterres, end of quote. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Busundayal. I would now like to invite Panditji Darshan for his sharing.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामय सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. His Excellency Mr. Shri Rup, Président de la République, M. Rupen, और Deputy Lord Mayor M. Georges Daniel Augustin, CEO United Nations Association of Mauritius M. Nankeshwar Singh Busundayal, Equal Opportunity Commission M. Richard Toulouse, और विशेष करके दीदी गायत्री जी, चेयरपर्सन नेशनल बोर्ड ऑफ ब्रह्म कुमारी. आज इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ पीस, विश्व शांति दिवस मना रहे हैं, और आज जैसे महान दिन में grand jour aujourd'hui qui les rappelle nous, les rapproche nous et les fait nous réjouir le shanti, la paix. Shanti, c'est un mot avec deux syllabes, shant और ti. Shant veut dire la tranquillité, ti veut dire la divinité. Et en cherchant ces deux mots-là même, la tranquillité et la divinité, l'humanité trouve aujourd'hui une perdue entre deux mondes. Parce que la paix, Shanti, le bon Dieu, Bhagwan, il donne nous à chaque moment, chaque jour, chaque instant pour nous célébrer. Mais aujourd'hui, l'humanité, il trouve si perdue qu'il nous a besoin garder un jour spécifique pour nous rappeler nous, qu'il nous a besoin capable de retourner à l'intérieur de nous-mêmes, qu'il nous est capable d'essayer de reconnaître que oui, Shanti est quelque part. Et Shanti, c'est quoi? Shanti, c'est la satisfaction. C'est simple. Shanti, c'est la francisness. Shanti, c'est la fraternité. Shanti, c'est l'unité. Et une fois que l'humain il reconnaît sa fraternité, sa unité là, sa indifférence qui nous est entre nous là, c'est à ce moment-là qu'il nous est capable de la paix entre nous. Premier d'abord, c'est en nous-mêmes. Là, nous sommes capables de trouver la paix entre nous socialement, entre nous par différentes religions, entre nous pour nous construire une bonne place pour vivre, une bonne culture, un bon rituel et aussi un bon pays. आज शांति के इस महान दिवस में भगवान को हम फिर से याद करते हैं, उस परमात्मा को, परमात्मा, le Dieu suprême. और हम आत्मा हैं, nous nous un soul, un atma, une partie de sa lumière suprême là. C'est ça qui nous appelle la divinité. Et le moment qui le personne ou la personne qui réussit à atteindre sa divinité là, par la méditation, par la tranquillité, par laissons le monde matériel à part, et à ce moment-là qu'il nous dit, nous vînes param atma, nous vînes atma. और आत्मा भगवान से संबंध रखता है, परमात्मा से संबंध रखता है। मनुष्य मनुष्य संबंध रखता है, लेकिन आत्मा का एक ही संबंध है परमात्मा से। और अगर हम शांति चाहते हैं, शांति ढूंढना चाहते हैं, तो कहीं बाहर नहीं, अंदर जाएं, खुद में जाएं, तब भगवान हमें शांति देंगे और हम शांति को बांट सकते हैं। तब जा करके एक अच्छा देश, एक अच्छा नागरिक, एक अच्छा मनुष्य बन पाएंगे। इस दिवस में भगवान से हम यही शांति प्रार्थना करेंगे कि आप।
Thank you, Pandit ji. So I would now like to invite Mr. Richard Toulouse from the Equal Opportunity Commission for his address.
His Excellency, Mr. Prithviraj Singh Kopan, GCSK President of the Republic of Mauritius, the Deputy Mayor, Sister Gayatri, the UN representative, CEO of the UN Association Representatives, the Pandit who represents the Council of Religion, Mr. Billy Ning, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observes, Shalom. The international theme for this year is "End Racism, Build Peace." We all know that racism is a plague which is a threat to peace. Research all over the world has shown that in times of economic difficulties, havoc, the phenomenon such as racism, gender bias, xenophobia, discrimination against gays, lesbians tend to exacerbate. And this is not good for anyone. We must all endeavor to end all forms of racism. This will contribute positively to peace, especially peace and national unity. The Equal Opportunities Commission was created in 2008. It became operational in April 2012. In a nutshell, the main mission of the Equal Opportunities Commission are as follows: works towards the eliminations of discrimination in Mauritius. It includes racial discriminations and all forms of discriminations. Secondly, to promote equal opportunities and good relation between persons of different status, but most importantly, attempting to reconcile parties to whom a complaint of discriminations relates. The Equal Opportunities Commission, being an anti-discriminatory agency, are guided by principles such as equity, fairness, compassion, justice, etc. You know, in our everyday work, we receive a number of complaints. For instance, complaints by employees, especially in both private and public sectors, whereby the employees alleges that, for instance, the employer has acted discriminatory against him based on age, Okay? More favorable treatments are being given to those who are older, or based on color, or based on race, or based on caste, etc., etc. And in our everyday's work, we try to conciliate parties, but our main principle, guiding principle, is to put human beings at the center and using the principles which I have mentioned earlier on, that is the principles of fairness, compassion, and justice. Once President Ronald Reagan stated, I quote, "Peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means." As citizens of this country, we can all bring our contributions to a peaceful society, a peaceful world. Nous capables de faire de nous la case, nous capables de faire de nous travail, nous capables de faire de nos pays. Et moi d'accord avec Brahma Kumari, et nous trouvons l'expérience de notre travail, nous avons un moyen simple et efficace. Par exemple, la compassion, c'est un des bons moyens. Un des bons moyens. Par exemple, respect pour nos aînés et pour les autres, respect pour madame, nous gentillesse à l'égard des autres. Comme on dit encore une fois, la compassion pour les autres. Donc, merci beaucoup.
Merci, Monsieur Toulouse. When there is inner peace, there is always a soothing music inside. And today, we'll have an artistic presentation by Mr. Billining. Mr. Billining, please.
Bonjour à tous. Tout d'abord, je remercie la Brahma Kumari pour l'invitation. Et le thème, c'est la paix aussi. On dit un petit mot avant de jouer la flûte. Et comment ça, madame, là, tu peux dire d'aller là. Pour qu'il y ait la paix dans le monde, nous avons besoin de la paix à l'intérieur de nous. Et très important, pour trouver la paix à l'intérieur de nous, nous avons besoin d'être en paix avec nous-mêmes. Et une façon pour être en paix avec nous-mêmes, dans le pardon. Souvent, quand nous causons le pardon, nous imaginons pour pardonner des gens qui nous font nous errer. Beaucoup de gens ne sont pas capables de faire la paix, pas trouver la paix intérieurement, parce que ce n'est pas réciproque. Pardonne même notre propre erreur. C'est très important que nous prenions un petit moment. Nous avons la bonté envers nous prochains, nous avons la compassion, mais il faut être à l'écoute de soi aussi et être indulgent aussi envers soi-même. Donc, il y a la grande bonté que nous avons envers nos prochains. Si nous ne pas rester pardonne nous-mêmes manière que nous finissons faire dans le passé, nous ne pouvons pas avancer. Voilà. Merci.
Merci, Monsieur Bilining. So let's now view a video clip, a message of peace by the Brahma Kumaris.
Bonjour,
Namaste.
Vanakkam,
Ada.
Om Shanti. C'est avec un grand plaisir que l'organisation Brahma Kumaris aujourd'hui me présente ce message-là.
Un message de la paix, la paix et pour la paix.
C'est un message qui nous besoin écouter et nous besoin capable d'absorber dans nos cœurs.
Chaque année, nous commémorons ce jour-là comme la journée de la paix.
Nous te connaissons que la paix, c'est une décision que nous prenons tous les jours.
La paix les trouve à l'intérieur de nous. Mais est-ce que nous paisibles? Est-ce que nous en paix?
La paix, ne pas veut dire seulement paix dans le conflit ou bien paix dans la guerre.
La paix, c'est aussi une expression dans le cœur et l'esprit clair et propre.
La paix, c'est le plus grand pouvoir qui est capable d'exister. Et c'est un homme puissant.
Cette année-là, le thème que les Nations Unies ont choisi pour célébrer la Journée internationale de la paix, c'est à nous finir racistes et bâtir la paix.
C'est un appel pour éliminer toutes nos différences.
Différences basées sur nos croyances, sur nos niveaux d'éducation, nos couleurs de la peau, sur nos nationalités.
Ce qui dans nos arbres spirituels nous appelle les consciences du corps.
Donc, nous pouvons être capables de connecter avec ce qui est réellement nous été, en tant qu'un être, et gagner réalisation de nos véritables identités.
Une identité basée sur nos vraies qualités, la paix, l'amour, le bonheur et la pureté.
C'est ainsi que nous pourrons surmonter nos différences et établir une paix durable.
À nous construire un monde en paix, mais pas en pièces.
Solution, c'est un inside-out approach. Ça veut dire nous faire l'esprit calme, paisible, clair, puis nous sommes capables de retrouver une solution pour nos situations et problèmes extérieurs.
Nous pouvons vivre dans le monde quand nous faisons face de plus en plus de défis jour en jour.
Donc, à nous préparer nous l'esprit et nous les cœurs, nous venons plus forts et résilients.
Pour que la paix prévaloir aujourd'hui, tous les jours et partout dans le monde.
La méditation, c'est un outil qui aide nous à construire la force mentale.
Propagation paisible à travers le monde.
Nous invitons tous, joignons-nous et ensemble,
Hope you all enjoyed the video clip. I would now like to invite Sister Gayatri, who is the chairperson of the Brahma Kumaris of Mauritius and also the coordinator of the Brahma Kumaris in the North and Port Louis. Thank you.
Om Shanti. May peace be unto you all. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Mauritius, Mr. Prithviraj Singh Rupan, the representative of Equal Opportunities Commission, Mr. Richard Toulouse, Deputy Lord Mayor, Monsieur Jean-Georges Daniel Augustin, United Nations Secretary General message read by, Monsieur Nankeswa Bissundoyal, CEO, United Nations Association of Mauritius, représentant de Council of Religions, Pandit Darshan, and all distinguished guests, my dearest sisters and brothers present today, let us all for some moment observe that I have been playing on this earth, on the relationships that I have, and all responsibilities right here and right now. Let me just be with myself, the inner being, the thinking being, the pure consciousness. Let us observe the silence and try to catch every single sound you can hear. We can definitely hear the aircon. You can hear your heart beating. You can feel the weight of your body on the chair. Now very gently, as a detached observer, an actor, silent actor, let me go inside the inner universe, the inner space of my inner universe. Observe the sound of thoughts. See the space between the thoughts and behind the thoughts. It's a space of infinite silence. As I explore this silence, let me invoke peace. And as I invoke peace, I can feel the fragrance, the energy of peace, gently stealing over my whole consciousness. A wonderful fragrance, pure vibrations, pervading every single cell of my body and spreading out into the room and out into the universe. As I dwell within this silence, I experience myself becoming absolutely peaceful, cool, calm, quiet, silent and still. In this inner stillness, I experience myself getting refreshed, re-energized, replenished, nourished. I dwell for a while enjoying this natural, original state of my being. Now gently holding on to this spiritual energy, I glide back into the physical dimension, back into the room. Ok, merci. J'espère que tout le monde a fait cet exercice parce que c'est ça l'énergie que nous sommes tous en train de chercher pendant cette journée internationale de la paix. So the topic, le thème qu'on a choisi nous, c'est compassion and kindness. So to start with, I'll say there's a famous scientist which all of us know who has been using the science of silence because he was, comme on dit, dyslexiste. And probably all of us know, who brought light into our physical universe. Who is he? Qui nous a amené la lumière? Edison. C'est Sir Thomas Edison. Alors lui, sa vie, c'était extrêmement rempli de tout genre de tragédies qu'il a vécues, mais n'empêche, he didn't even hear what I heard. He used the silence to go into his research. And people say usually in his quote, you're going to find that he says, I tried many, many times, thousands of times, but I didn't lose them because I knew they're not going to work. Yeah. So we were having un petit brin de conversation avec M. Augustin, and he was talking about another scientist, Tesla. Yeah. So the science of silence enables scientists to discover things on the material, on the physical existence, about the laws of nature and so on and so forth. Mais la science du silence est accessible à nous tous. Each one of us, we have that inner silence. A proverb goes like this: in silence lies the highest source of inspiration, the highest source of insight. Et insight, c'est de voir quelque chose, c'est how far we are all, the whole world is just one. Il y a une harmonie incroyable dans l'univers. Mais aujourd'hui, because of our activities, we have broken that harmony. Now, to regain that harmony, it's very essential for each one of us to reclaim our original peace. Yeah? And peace is our original nature. In our conversation, I was just sharing avec M. Augustin. Like, when we talk, there's a pause when we are talking so that you're able to understand what I am speaking. When we write, there's, full stop, comma, exclamation, question mark. That gives meaning to the text that we are writing. In the same way, silence is the oxygen of the spirit. And we are hardly silent. Hardly silent. So when we are able to reach that inner silence, it's like an ocean. An ocean in which we can explore and find the treasures, our lost treasures. Our lost treasures are all the qualities that we require today, now, in the now. Le monde où nous sommes. And each one of us have a very considerable role to bring about that silence, that peace within each one of us. And if one of us fail, just comme dans une maison, s'il y a une personne qui est malade ou bien n'est pas bien, moche, triste, do we like the atmosphere of the house? We don't. So when we say the whole world is one, not if there is even one single person on earth who is miserable, unhappy, the world is not heaven. The world is not perfect. And perfection lies in each one of us. The moment we start discovering and spreading it out, it's going to come back into the world. Alors dedans, c'est deux qualités, compassion and kindness. We say whoever we meet, any person we meet, let us meet the person with kindness, because we don't know what story he has been going through. Chacun est en train de batailler à l'intérieur de lui-même. Chacun connaît son propre histoire, isn't it? So I'm going to tell you the example of this Thomas Edison, this scientist, an anecdote in his life which they relate. When he was about to demonstrate the act of bringing light on earth, he had his l'ampoule dans sa main. Then he said to his lab attendant, can you go and bring it there? Can you bring it when the moment I'm going to have it? I will need it on the dice, you bring it to me. And the lab attendant, while he was going on his way, he slipped and fell down, and the bulb got shattered to pieces. And Edison didn't react at all. He just calmly accepted the fact. And then he went back again in his lab and started working on the bulb. Next time he was about to demonstrate, and the people around him said, are you sure we're going to have the demonstration today? He just said quietly, yes. And then he called the lab boy again. And the people who are beside him say, "What are you doing? Are you mad?" It's such a clumsy little boy. That last time he listened to them, and he still told the boy, "Go and bring that bulb to me." And the boy brought the bulb, and then he said, "I can spend days and nights and can build up the bulb again, but I cannot repair a broken heart." Right? He noticed how the poor boy was, miserable and happy. And then this is the story. All of us, we meet many people on our way. Sometimes our close ones in the house, at the workplace, among the neighbors. We see, but then we don't exercise that compassion that we should. There's the difference between what we say, sympathy and compassion. We can sympathize, but compassion is a very powerful, active energy where we are empathizing, not only empathizing, but empowering the person. Empower the person to be who they are, because each one of us deep inside in our organization, we have come to learn, not only just theoretical learning, that each one of us, we are sleeping giants. Each one of us, we have tremendous spiritual powers, and the need of the time today is to exercise those spiritual powers. Until and unless we don't exercise them, it's difficult for us to bring the world to its natural state. No? And being it's our natural nature, it's not difficult to find it. And the way to find it is observing silence again and again. That's why we have a common practice among all religions, where we spend our days, sometimes days, weeks, months in silence, retraite de silence. So if we're to tell a common person, don't speak today whole day, it's going to be very difficult for the person not to speak. Yeah? But when we say not think about negative things, that's still another issue, right? So when we practice meditation, this is what we learn. We have the external world and the inner world. And about the external world, we come here. We are eternal souls, beings of light, invisible energy. We have incarnated in human bodies made up of the 5 elements of matter: the earth, water, fire, air, and space. Natural laws go on their own accord. There's nobody to enforce natural laws. They work on their own. The other day I was talking to Brother Richard Toulouse, and he was telling me, what are you going to do? We are going to talk about compassion. And then I say, well, what's the spirit of the law? No, nous avons Choropin aussi qui est dans la loi, right? What's the spirit of law? Why have we created law? It's to create law and order in society. Mais avant tout, il faut que je puisse trouver mon propre calme, l'harmonie à l'intérieur de moi. Je crée des lois, mais je dois pouvoir gérer. Il y a 3 pouvoirs qui gèrent le monde aujourd'hui, n'est-ce pas? Il y a la religion, toutes les religions. Il y a la science. Et il y a la gouvernance. Right? Nowadays, we see tous les défaillances qu'on a dans tous les pouvoirs existants aujourd'hui, c'est dans l'humain, dans chacun de nous. Et même les scientifiques nous disent, medical scientists tell us that all of us, we are utilizing only about 3 to 10% of our mental capacities. And we have a host of internal, sort of treasures and capacities lying dormant. The day we are enlightened, and that's the search of every human being, I need to find myself out. Who am I really? Nous avons chacun notre raison d'être. Each one of us, we are unique. So if I have not found my uniqueness, then I can't find my place in society. Chacun, nous avons notre raison d'être. Et cette raison d'être, c'est ça notre but sur la terre, de chercher et d'être in line with my ultimate purpose for what have I come on earth, cette raison d'être. Even this mic has got a raison d'être. If I wish to use it in the bouquet, it's my choice. But it's not going to be maximum, utilization. So each one of us, so when we are exercising compassion, it's very important we take attention, we pay attention that we don't use this in our inner jargon, in our inner language. Complaint, criticism, comparison, competition. We can race, but we don't compete. Yeah? So we need to go more when we say about compassion. It's that feeling which is natural in us, that make us feel what other people are feeling. We can feel, sense, and also, because we are not in that boat, so we still have our spiritual energy, we can exercise creating powerful, pure, positive thoughts. And thoughts are the primary energy of this world. So when we fall silent, it's like comme dans un lac, l'eau est calme, vous arrivez à regarder vous-même dans ce lac, you're going to see your own reflection. But when you see very attentively, you see the whole universe is reflected in that silence. You're going to see the trees and the sky. Donc c'est le silence qui nous met en contact avec nos propres trésors tout d'abord. And when we have these inner treasures, we're enlightened about our treasures, we're empowered. On dit voir, c'est pouvoir, right? So then we are empowered and it's easy for us to fight our own battle, win the battle of life, and also help people around me. That becomes contagious, non? Tout comme nous avons vu des personnes comme scientistes. Aujourd'hui, vous savez où est-ce qu'il est arrivé? Nous sommes tous en train de jouer. I have inherited all divine qualities from you, my Supreme Father and Creator. Today, at this moment, we allow your light to shine in our heart, mind, and intellect, and allow it to pervade the whole universe. Dress.
Thank you, Sister Sharda. Deputy Lord Mayor, Mr. Jean-Georges Daniel Augustin. Sister Gayatri, Chairperson, National Board of the Brahma Regions. Mr. Richard Toulouse, representative of Equal Opportunity Commission. Immense pleasure to join you in this reflective and meditative session on the theme, Moving Towards a Kind and Compassionate World, an initiative of the Brahma Kumaris and the Inner Space Meditation Center, which I applaud and which is being held to commemorate the International Day of Peace. I am grateful for this invitation, opportunity given to me since over 40 years. Is a day devoted to strengthening the ideals of peace, both within and among all nations and peoples, despite our differences. In other words, this day contributes in building a culture of peace all around us at different levels of society. The theme chosen by the UN this year is End Racism, Build Peace. And in fact, we know that whenever we discriminate, whenever we find different towards end of peace. And this is why we should consider each and every one to be equal to ourselves and give due respect to others. And compassionate world. And in fact, I'm sure that in choosing the theme, we always have as objective the promotion of peace. And we should also, and pay tribute to the sisters of Brahma Kumaris who have, for the last 40 years, perhaps more than 40, preaches that we should go towards peace. Perhaps peace is an ideal, its own way. But it is good today that at least we reflect and reconnect ourselves with this very important virtue that we should all aim at going towards peace. And each one of us have got its own experience. Each one of us has got its own way of defining peace. And we should also accept this difference in appreciation. But we should all pursue that ideal of finding peace. Finding peace, as Panditji mentioned, within oneself, first of all. We should be in peace with our own body. There should be a peace between our physical and spiritual body. And this is this peace that can eventually transmit peace towards others. As we say, peace be upon you and peace be upon the other one. And all these are just a reminder of what we should all aim at. Somebody was mentioning about COVID, and it's good that I quote what His Holiness Pope Francis said in his message for the celebration of the 55th World Day of Peace on the 1st of the world. Peace with ourselves. And this peace that we had during the pandemic, let us take it as it was a message of God. That we have been confined to our own home, that it gives us an opportunity for an introspection, what we have been doing, whether everything that we were pursuing in our own life, whether this, we can be satisfied with very less than what we pursue normally. And this is this rebalancing that we need to carry out in our own way. And as you mentioned, sister, there is no point in on making comparison with others. We should be content with what we have, what is given to us, and don't get into this habit of being into a competition with others. Let go at times, and at the same time, be satisfied. The concept of economics is that means are unlimited, or means are limited, but wants are unlimited. The whole concept goes. But if we can limit our wants, then automatically we will be content with our means and try to, and it can take many forms. Respecting others, understand others, be satisfied with less, avoid all types of violence, be it verbal or physical. Somebody mentioned hate speech, ego, and we should forget our differences. We should create a situation where there's less conflict. Whatever form, whatever means we wish to pursue, all these will eventually lead us to one thing. It is peace. Peace with oneself, peace toward others, and with peace, one connected to each other. And somebody was mentioning the power of silence, and you mentioned, sister, about this scientist. But we know also that all the gurus, share all this with you. And I end by quoting, just like a few of you have done. And when we say we are kind, it is, as I say, an ideal. Perhaps we realize that we after thought that we should be, perhaps even if we don't mean it, we tend to harm others, or others can, even if we don't say something which is harsh, misunderstand what we are doing. But we try at least to go towards this direction. I end with a quotation, which also is a way of showing that we wish to transmit peace, is a smile. And I'll quote an American comedian, Phyllis Diller, who stated, "A smile is a curve that sets everything straight." Yes. Thank you very much, and Om Shanti. I should end with a smile.
Thank you, His Excellency, for your elevated thoughts and words. I would now like to call upon Mr. Ricardo Rose for the vote of thanks.
Our special thanks go to His Excellency, Mr. Prithvivanshin Open, Deputy Lord Mayor, Monsieur Jean-Georges Daniel Augustin, Mr. Richard Toulouse, representative of Equal Opportunity Commission, Mr. Nikeshwar Singh Busundayal, CEO NUA, Association of Mauritius, and Panditji, representative of Council of Religions, and Mr. Billy Ning, and the Municipal Council of Port Louis, and also the MBC, Radio, Television, and the Mauritius Police Force. Et en plus, vous aussi, les audiences. Ça, c'est important parce que sinon, s'il n'y a pas d'audience en ce moment-là, vous savez ce qui arrive. Vous avez smile, comme Monsieur le Président avait dit. Monsieur le Président, je ne vois pas de smile. Is that happy? C'était very powerful and nice function. Merci beaucoup à vous tous ici présents. Merci.
Merci. I would now like to